and welcome to Voices Randomish. Again, Voices Random-ish. I'm your host, Eldridge Alexander, along with my sisters here tonight, who are
D'Artagnan Winters,
Bess McGee, Allison Backstrom.
We want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight because tonight we want to talk about something that has been given a bad rap. And in doing so, we hope that we will engage you in dialogue that you'll find to be enlightening, that will inspire you to go out and uplift someone else. This week and all of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so what we wanted to do at this time is that we wanted to talk to you about something that's really near and dear to us, which is breast cancer. And we all know someone who has been stricken by breast cancer. We've all been touched by it in some form or fashion, right? Tonight, Dar's going to share with us a special experience and a story from someone that's really close to her. So go ahead, Dar, and share.
Well, I reached out to Denise Highsmith and asked her to share her story with us here on Voices about her experience with breast cancer. And she replied, and she was very open to the process. So I'm going to read this to you. Try not to cry.
Okay.
On Christmas night 2000, while laying in bed, I felt a lump almost the size of a dime. Due to my family history, I definitely had a sense of urgency. I immediately made an appointment the next day. In January of 2001, I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. We were in a state of shock, but after letting the news sink in, we knew we had to come up with a game plan and be ready for battle. At the age of 36, I was ready to chop off everything for a chance to live. At this time, doctors didn't feel it was necessary. After my lumpectomy in January of 2001, I needed assistance for about 2 to 3 weeks with meals, hygiene, cooking, and household chores. From then on, because I was high risk for carrying the V.O.I.C.E.S genetic mutation, I was tested every 6 months, either mammogram or MRI alternatively. Then after 7 years of being cancer-free, I was checked annually. After further tests in 2008, realizing that I carried the genetic mutation, I opted to have preventive double mastectomy with reconstructive surgery, a more radical procedure. My recovery was closer to 6 weeks, and I needed full assistance with baths, meals, and drains that needed to be emptied every few hours. After full recovery from the double mastectomy, I no longer had to have mammograms. When you have been given a cancer diagnosis and you survive the odds, you know you have a purpose. I had work to finish. God has truly blessed me, and I in turn feel like I have an opportunity to impact others and make a difference using my experience to comfort and help others. I knew I had more to live for. I wanted to see my children grow up, and I have a family to take care of, people that depended on me. With love and support and strong faith, I overcame the odds and survived this disease, unlike my aunts and great aunts that have passed on. There were ups and downs throughout my recovery, but I realized my mental toughness as I gained my health and strength back. First and foremost, after your diagnosis, if you are not satisfied, you should definitely get more than one opinion. Seeking the best doctors within your budget or insurance. Early detection is key and so important. Follow your intuition and your instinct. Surround yourself with positive, uplifting people, friends, and family, and even your healthcare professionals. No negative energy. If you're feeling down, find a support group through your insurance, church, hospital, friends, social worker, or job. Take time to live life, love more, laugh a lot. I am an 18-year survivor, Denise Highsmith.
Yeah. Again, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and oftentimes when we hear the stories, and by the way, that was a really poignant story. It touched my heart. I'm sure it touched many of you out there. But cancer is an all-engulfing disease. It is not a biased disease. As a matter of fact, breast cancer in men, especially men of color, is pretty prevalent. And I'm just going to give you some statistics that we found when we were doing our research about breast cancer. So especially doing breast cancer awareness, we like to be an inclusive show, and we don't really want to leave anyone out. So that being said, Did you know that 2,670 men in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer? Did you know that 500 men will die from breast cancer this year? Did you also know that men of color have the highest incidence rates of breast cancer? That in men of color, 2.7 out of every 100,000 men of color will be diagnosed with breast cancer, unlike their white counterparts, who 1.9 of every 100,000 will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Again, what are some of the contributing risk factors that make someone more susceptible to breast cancer than others? As Dar alluded to or spoke about in the document that she was reading, the V.O.I.C.E.S gene, which is the BRCA gene, that they encourage people to get tested to determine whether or not they are carriers. You may not have the disease, but you could be a carrier. So your family history, the age, and if someone has elevated estrogen levels. The average age of diagnosis for breast cancer in men and men of color particularly is around 65 years old. Liver disease can account for some breast cancer in men, believe it or not, because with liver cancer and prostate cancer, you're taking hormone replacement therapy, and 9 times out of 10 is estrogen, and so it can elevate your estrogen levels in men. And since they have very low estrogen levels, they are more susceptible to breast cancer when they have any type of cancer treatment. So again, as Dar was reading the story from Denise, she was talking about some of the things that we need to do in order to practice self-care. But before we even do that, we need to know the signs, to be enlightened. And that's what we want to talk about here, is that we really want you to pay attention to the signs, like if you have a lump that feels like a hard knot or a thickening in the breast or in the underarm. So that means that just like women do breast exams, maybe men should be doing those too. Maybe not to the same degree because you don't have as much breast tissue, but I would encourage you to make sure that you check yourself. Any new irregularity that a man has on his skin, the nipple, redness, scaliness, puckering, or discharge, those are the same symptoms that women have. Mm-hmm. The latest research that's involved with trying to figure out what we can do about reducing the impact of breast cancer, they have some improved surgical options that will prevent scarring. So if someone has to have surgery, there is a radiation therapy advanced so that it'll save the tissues, and then there's lower risk of side effects. New medications and drug combinations, including new chemotherapy, new hormone and targeted immunotherapy. And then also palliative care when all else fails, to make someone feel better, find supportive ways, as you talked about, where she had support from family and friends, things like going over to cook for somebody, helping them get dressed, those types of things. So just basically finding better ways of reducing symptoms and then improving the quality of life for the patients that have. So what we want to do right now is we want to ask you a question. And so the women of randomness, right now we want to present selfish practices. I would like to know, ladies, first of all, let me give you some information. You know how you always hear that phrase, you need to take care of yourself or you won't be able to take care of other people? Or the other one is when you're on the airplane, they're giving you those instructions to say, put your mask on before you help anybody else. Well, that's paradoxical, because basically when you start to do things and look out for yourself, the connotation of selfish, the practice of self-care and being self-centered, it becomes negative. Check this out, everybody. The definition of selfish, when I looked up in the Oxford Dictionary, it said, definition of selfish, of a person, action, or motive, lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. And then the synonyms is what got me were egocentric, egotistical, egomaniacal, and self-centered. Now you think about the type of connotation or the meaning of what that is and what that feels like to us. So when we talk about being selfish. So I got some questions for you and our viewers tonight. I want to know, first of all, why is it important to be selfish?
You gotta take care of yourself. Sometimes you extend a hand to other people so much that you forget about yourself and helping yourself and extending that hand to yourself. So it's important sometimes to be selfish for your own health and well-being.
What do you think, Allison?
Well, it's impossible to serve somebody else when you're completely empty. You can't help others when you're not well yourself. It's impossible to, bring out the best without being your best.
Yeah, because when you talk about energy in the universe, somebody can probably sense. If you're a parent or if you are a sibling, it's like you can sense when somebody is a little bit off kilter. It's something with the energy in the universe. So when you start to feel that you're getting a little bit off and you know that you need to be a little bit selfish, what's one ritual or habit that you engage in as self-care?
I go get a massage.
Okay.
That is my down. Like, other than listening to music and doing that, I make an appointment. I go get a deep tissue massage and I relax. That 60 minutes is what I need at that moment.
And sometimes just escaping from the whole, I don't know, how I say rigmarole, whatever it is. And y'all know what I mean, the rat race of life. You can going, and sometimes you just need that time out. And how often do you get a massage?
I try to go every 3 months is usually what I do. But if I have to go more than that, I usually go to the one in the mall, do a 15, 20-minute neck and shoulder massage right in the middle of the mall, and I'm good after that as well. So the one in the mall I can go to every other week.
Are you talking about on the first floor or upstairs?
Downstairs on the first floor in the middle.
Okay. And so you've had the deep tissue massage.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a massage, Beth?
I have.
What type of massage?
I had an essential oil massage where they use like eucalyptus oil or orange oil and massage your body with it. And
Okay.
it's light touches and the oil kind of absorbs in your skin and kind of makes you feel fresh.
Anybody ever had a body wrap?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is what I did one time. It was deep. I went to one of the places where they do the body wrap, and what the body wrap is supposed to do, it has these organic or natural herbs and minerals, and they wrap your body in all of these bandages, really, like you look like the mummy. And then what they do is they'll put you in a bed. It's a heated thermal bed. You're in like a cocoon. You lay there. They put these things over your eyes. You listen to music. You're in the room by yourself, and they say it's supposed to mimic how you feel when you're in the womb. Now, it's been a long time for me being in this. I can't even tell you what they feel like. I kind of go by what she said. She's like, oh, you're going to feel just like you're in your mother's womb. And I'm like, really? So, but I will tell you that after I came out and then showered, you go into a shower and these jets are coming and it feels like it's massaging me from head to toe. Yes. Mm-hmm. After that, I came out and they wrapped me in some clay. Okay. And then I was wrapped up again, y'all, in the cocoon and everything. And yeah, for about 30 minutes. She came back in. I got back in the thing and jet sprayed and all of the clay came off of me. Then I came out and she did the part that you said best. She did the deep tissue with essential oils. And then I just laid there for like another 15 minutes. Y'all, when I came out, I was skipping. I ain't gonna lie, I was skipping. I was like, whoa, I was skipping. So to me, the benefit of, for me, like I was gonna ask you, for you, when you had your massage, I know what my benefits was. I was like,
complete and total relaxation for me. Like, it just gave me that moment to not think about anything, not do anything. Mm-hmm. It made me stay still and relax in the moment.
Mine's is opposite because I don't feel relaxed when I get a massage. Only because I know I'm supposed to be relaxed. So my man is everywhere. So mine's is the opposite. I be feeling hunched over, but afterwards I do feel good. It's just it don't relax.
Okay, what kind of masseuse you got, honey? Because when I was in Jamaica, that was the only time I was a little bit distracted.
Those might make me feel a little relaxed.
Girl, they had the package where you could get a couple's massages. So my husband, he didn't want to go. He was like, baby, you can have all the time. If he would have knew them dudes that was down there that you could get your massage, because it was like, do you want a male or a female? I was like, looking at them. I was like, I need a man. Oh my God, them hands. Oh.
You said this is in Jamaica?
Yes. Okay, sound like we need to be getting on the proud thing to go in here tomorrow.
Have you had a massage?
Have people know that side?
I don't like to be touched.
Okay. And so, do you like to touch? others?
I'm comfortable touching somebody that I'm comfortable if they touch me. I guess it has to be kind of a reciprocal thing.
Mhm.
Otherwise, like strangers touching me, I'm not a fan of.
Okay.
So even if we don't do massage, there are other ways to have relaxation. You know, what are some other things you might do? You know, I know you probably just chill back and relax and watch TV. You know, she's like, I'm not mentioning it on TV. You know, no, we know you listen to music and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes for me, I just like to, I'm pretty introverted, so for me, just alone time, like even if the TV is off, everything is completely quiet, I'm actually probably like at peace the most when I'm completely alone and it's completely silent. I just feel like I can, you know,
disengage.
Yeah, very much.
So how often do you think it's important to disengage? Because that is a really good form of self-care. Do you do it this often, or tell us more about it? Because most people out there, I would venture to guess, you know what the number one reason people can't disengage these days? Y'all know what it is. You're sitting right there. Yes.
Them phones.
So you disengage.
It's too instant.
It's too instant. Do you let go of your phone too when you disengage?
Yes, for the most part. Like a lot of times, like I won't be on my phone, but I'll put on like YouTube or Netflix or Hulu or something like that, and it'll just kind of
be in the background.
Be there. That I'll be like, you know, I'll glance at it or I'll listen to it, but it's just kind of there for the background. Sound. Other times it's just completely off, but I need downtime, like at least 1 hour a day of like, I just need to be by myself, quiet, to collect myself.
Can you teach me?
She's like, I'm right.
I wait till it builds up.
Yes.
I wait till it builds up.
And I'm the same way.
I'm gonna go on vacation.
So you be like, you just, but then again, you still vacation. The actual word vacation is about vacating. It's about vacating your everyday normal practices. So when we engage in self-care, we are sort of taking a vacation from life when you disengage. And I think it's so important for us not to continue to fall into the trap of that paradigm that is something wrong with taking care of yourself. Because again, when we started this discussion, you know, to take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of others. You know, put your mask on before you help other people. So we talk about that, and then we go out and somebody says to us, you being selfish. And then what does that do to you? What happens when you hear that? What goes on inside of you?
It makes me feel like they think that I'm self-centered or everything is about me and that I don't consider the feelings of other people.
And that's not true.
No, it's not true.
Because what's going on at that time is you really are considering other people's feelings. Because I like what Allie said when she said that she kind of take that hour and disconnect. One of the things that I learned about, and I practice yoga, and I practice yoga at 95-degree heat. It ain't nothing like it. I'm telling you, people talk about humidity, but it will save your skin. If you want to know the secret to beautiful skin, get you some humidity, go for it, okay? And moisturize. But I practice yoga at 95-degree heat, and what I found with yoga, it forces you to disengage. Because if you're trying to stand on one foot and balance yourself, you really can't be thinking about what's going on in the other person's area or what's happening at work or what have you, because you're trying to balance yourself and keep yourself from hitting the floor. So what are some of the ways that you think people could actually begin to practice selfishness? And if you were going to change the way people look at it, what are some things you're going to be doing now differently than you did before? Because you know being selfish is good. And what advice would you give to people out there?
To be selfish sometimes.
Okay.
To be selfish and take that time out for yourself and make sure that you at 100%, because you can't help nobody else if you ain't together.
Specifically, what's one thing that you're going to do this week to live that promise out? You're going to live it out loud and you're going to commit to something right now.
I would say disengaging and not letting the pressure build up and the bad thoughts and all that bad energy build up and disengage. Take some time to disengage. Even if I don't feel stressed, just by getting in the habit of disengaging, that would probably help me feel less stressed.
Yeah, because people feel guilt. Is it that you're feeling guilt?
Yeah.
And guilt is a useless emotion because it's about looking at it from the outside of what everybody else is going to think about it. That's the difference between guilt and shame, because shame is basically on the inside. I'm ashamed of me for disengaging so I can be a better person than you. Because that's what you guys are all essentially saying. Because, Diary, you don't take no stuff from nobody. So, what would be the benefit of you learning how to disengage and Allie teaching you how to really just zone people out?
I can take a little bit more. I will be able to not snap it off. So I have learned, and I'm in the learning process of doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm getting better as the days go. I can see it in myself. I am getting better, but it's hard to kind of walk away and not allow myself that moment. Because everything doesn't need a reaction in the moment.
No,
I'm learning that.
You're right.
I'm learning that.
You're right, because people, they're going to have her license plate and they're going to be like, don't drive down there. You see that license plate out there? You finna get flipped off. Don't even go that way. So you don't want to have that. But I like that you said the self-awareness. That's what it's all about.
Just to clarify, it's not necessarily that I can tune people out.
Okay.
I take myself away.
Okay.
Like if I'm at home, then I will go in my room and I'll close the door. And my kids know me well enough now that, they know that I'm very introverted and I just need some time to, relax. Otherwise I'm very, very anxious most of the time. One of my children is also very introverted, so she really understands as well. She needs her downtime. So it's not that I can tune people out. I just have to take myself away and give myself a little space. Otherwise, I will get to that breaking point daily if I don't have some time to just collect myself. Otherwise, it's almost like being overstimulated by people constantly.
Well, we live in a coffee society, and this, what I mean by that is that it's plural. It's like everything got 50,000 ways that you can get it. Go in and try to order some coffee. That's what I mean. It's like, do you want short, tall, grande, vintage, and different languages, they're asking you what size cup you want. You can't just go in and get a cup of coffee because they have a nervous breakdown. One time I went into Borders. I don't even think they're open anymore, probably because they couldn't get the coffee order right. I went in and I asked for a cup of decaf coffee. And the girl started to go into a whole litany of things. Do you want sugar and cream? I was like, no, just a cup of black coffee, decaf coffee. Then she started to say, well, do you want that as Americano? I was like, no. I said, this is what I need you to do. I said, don't lie, people. I said, you see that cup over there? I need you to pick that cup up. I said, you see that thing over there with the orange around? I need you to pour some of that in there. I said, I need you to put the top on and walk over here. Come on. She did like that. I said, here you go. I gave them the $2.10, which I knew it was. And I left. And she stood like she was in shock. And what you're talking about being overstimulated, I say that because for every decision that you make, you can go on to Google and there's 1,000 directions in which you can go on, which causes people to be overly stimulated. Now, you might not think these things have a connection, but we have people out here with ADHD, ADD, I don't know what the D is, all of this kind of stuff. But it's all related to not being selfish. I'm just going to bring it back home. The fact of the matter, when you were talking about the overstimulation in the environment, if you can't even go in and order a cup of coffee and just get a cup of coffee, black or decaf, because when I grew up, it was Maxwell House, Folgers, and Sanctum. So the blue can, the red can, or the thing with the orange on the top. That's all you had to order. But the thing about it is that you have all this overstimulation in the environment. So you have to minimize that, right? We got to find a way to try to minimize that. And as Allie was talking about, y'all remember the Calgon commercial?
Take me away.
Take me away.
Woo. Take me away. Well, I guess you know what? I can say that as a downtime for me because I do take a bath.
Okay.
And it's an hour and a half at least.
So there we go. Another way to self-care. Girl.
An hour and a half at least. So my father's like, what? You still in the tub? Like, the water's still hot. I'm like, I've already refreshed it. Already ran some more
It's
hot
your
water.
morning to
Still good. I can take a shower in 10 minutes, but I'm in a tub for an hour and a half. So.
Oh, wow. Now that's a nice ritual. It really is. Because really self-care involves rituals. Things that you normally do. So think about something that you do that just really brings you joy when you may not even be thinking. And I'm encouraging anybody out there, think outside the box, as they say. Think inside the box. Think around, over, under, whatever you got to do. But really think right now while we're doing this broadcast. Just take a minute to breathe it all out and in. And think about something that you may not think is self-care. But and how you can incorporate that ritual and practice it even more. You talked about an hour and a half bath, and you practice that how many times a week?
At least 4.
See, 4 times a week. So good. Out of 168 hours, she's getting about 6 hours. Less than 10%. That is not selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are you going to do, or what would you think about?
When I'm happy, I sing. So singing more.
Yeah.
She's gonna be singing
to us,
Singing in the rain and in the snow and whatever. See, I like to see that, and her face lit up.
Mm-hmm.
When she said singing more, her face lit up. That's how you can tell when somebody really enjoys something that they're doing anytime they explain something, because you talk the bath and I looked at your whole face change. Look at her face change. She talked about, and then Allie, one more thing other than disengage. What's one more thing that you might engage in? The things that we could say on the air. We all got some things, you know.
Something that I
Sleep,
do
extra sleep.
when I'm happy or that makes me happy
Yeah.
is I love making sweets.
Okay. So make some sweets.
Right.
Right. So you make it for the
Right,
next
right.
week. Y'all heard that. You heard it live on the air that she said that she was making sweets for us. So
I actually made a cake last night.
oh, what was it? The
Pineapple upside down cake.
Okay.
So she came over here to help me set up everything, and then about 9:30 she starts to panic because she's got to make this upside down cake. So the sad thing is that she left me and everything was done, but I would have loved to have seen a piece of that cake today, even though I ain't even care about cake. You owe us a cake. So all right then.
I'll
Well,
make you cake, ladies.
I
Sisters.
think for me, I'm one of those kind of people that when I really feel overloaded, believe it or not, I know y'all find this hard to believe, but my self-care ritual is to totally disengage. Now, I'm a little different than most people. I come in the house, and for the most part, you guys, I'm an anomaly because my cell phone stay on silent. I'm not that important. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You know how to get me. I'm gonna look at my phone every now and then. So for me, not having that phone on was the best thing in my life. I'm gonna tell you what else I did. I used to have a Fitbit on. Now this is how the universe will tell you that you need to stop doing something. I used to have anxiety at night and I couldn't figure out why. Well, the damn Fitbit was going off telling me how I was breathing and everything. I'm asleep. It's beeping, telling me how my heart rate is going. So when I got rid of the Fitbit, I really started to sleep better. So really practicing the ritual of leaving everything behind. I don't turn anything on and isolate myself in my bedroom and preparing myself for sleep is a ritual for me, because otherwise I'm an insomniac, and you'll know by my post.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this segment, each of my sisters here has a card, and we're going to show you that card and tell you what our commitment is this week. So first of all, I'm going to be practicing any ritual that has to do with me increasing my self-worth. So whatever that means for me this week of feeling like I'm worth more to myself, just me. Not anybody else, but that I'm valued by me, and I can look in the mirror and say, I love you, you're worth something, and you are truly valued. So that for me is going to be a challenge because I don't do that. How about you?
I am going to be more self-aware. And for me, this definitely hits home because I am finding more and more things that I need to be aware that I'm doing. So,
Okay.
Perfect.
Mine's is self-love. And this is like the perfect one for me because I always love on everybody else and I never take the time for myself and never do what makes me happy. So this will be a challenge, but it's a challenge that I'm anticipating.
And mine is self-care. And I'm going to allow myself to not worry about negative energy that's coming my way so that I can keep my peace of mind.
Okay. And we're all doing this for one very good reason. Be selfish. Because I love me, you love you. And that's all we really want to tell you is to be selfish. So find some way to be selfish. Subscribe to our channel so that you can engage in dialogue that will enlighten, uplift, and inspire you. Share, comment, and remember, we want to know what's your frequency. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Voices Ramblerish. Until next time, deuces.
Deuces.
Okay, it automatically uploads.